we all make connections with the stories we read. Text-to-self connections are formed when we connect a story to our own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Text-to-world connections are formed when we connect what we read to events from our lives. Making connections helps us deepen our understanding of the text we are reading. Let's understand how to make inferences. If we read that someone uses a hybrid car and has a solar-powered house, we infer that. On reading about a long queue at a government office and locals complaining, one can infer that. We make inferences based on what we read as well as what we don't read. A parallel structure is used when we connect two or more clauses or phrases with a coordinating conjunction. When two clauses or phrases are connected with correlative conjunctions. When two clauses or phrases are connected with a comparison word. Parallel structures improve clarity and allow us to communicate our ideas better.
The Accident by Murong Swechan, translated by Harvey Tomlinson. I saw the motorbike skid. The rider flew into the air, hitting the ground with a thump and rolling over twice before coming to a halt. My mind went blank, and I stopped the car. Night was falling. I stared at the blood flowing out from beneath his helmet, like rugosa roses in full bloom. I sat thinking, don't be dead. Me, driving after drinking, making an illegal turn. If you are dead, I might as well be too, at the age of 37. After a bit, I went to him. He sat up and muttered, "What kind of driving was that?" The road was carpeted with celery and radishes. He looked like a poor farmer delivering vegetables to the city. Feeling calmer, I tried to help him to walk a couple of steps. Things were looking up, but his mouth was still bloody. I decided not to show any weakness. If I were nice, I had no idea what he might ask for. I bellowed, "Driver's license." No one who'd caused an accident would dare to say this, but I wanted to club him into submission. He looked confused and shakily asked me, "What are you doing?" He was more than 50 years old. Oily clothes that reeked of pesticide, yellow rubber shoes. He didn't look too clued up about life. I glared. "What business is that of yours? Driver's license." He groped about and grinned shyly. I forgot to bring it." This was to my advantage. I poked him. "No driver's license? Riding on my tail?" He tried to defend himself. "You didn't have your lights on. How did I know?" Just then, I noticed people coming over. Even rabbits bite people when nervous, so I figured I could just shut him up with some cash. I helped him lift his motorbike. He advanced 2 steps and collapsed again. This time he was out cold. I prodded him violently, but he didn't come round. A lengthy queue of cars had built up. I could hear police sirens. I quickly rang Hu Taozing. He was businesslike, asked me some questions and promised to get help. I'd just hung up when the cops arrived. One asked for my documents. I said in a small voice, "I am friends with your commissar." He stared at me. "Don't talk rubbish, get your documents out." The old farmer was coming round and breathing heavily. I was worried, but then I heard the cop's radio. If this was hHYd5uLe, he was on his game. The cop listened, gave me a hard look before walking away to continue talking. He came back with a different attitude. The cop spoke directly to the farmer. "You were on his tail? ID card, driver's license." The old guy's face turned pale. It was smeared with blood. His mouth was quivering. He didn't realize what was happening. The cop interrogated him, then whispered to me, "Lawyer Wei, let's get him to the hospital. He's hurt bad." What lousy luck. But I never thought the old guy would be so stupid. He stood up and started to scoop up the greens from the road, dripping blood on the leaves. The cop and I exchanged amused glances. The cop said, "Nothing wrong?" The old vegetable grower rubbed his chest. "Hurts." Another cop asked him whether he was willing to settle and went on. "You have to admit liability, understand?" The old guy stammered an apology. "Sorry." I was laughing inside. This weedy cop knew how to deal with things. He pointed to the part of my car that had been hit. "Is the car okay?" I said, "Hard to say, but the paintwork will be at least 4,000. The old farmer's eyes widened. Visibly seized with terror, he produced a pile of wrinkled notes. 2 kwai, 1 kwai, and lots of mao. The lot couldn't have added up to more than 100 yuan. Tears flowed down his face. "I only have this much, otherwise you can take the motorbike." "It's only good for scrap," I said. "Why would I want it?" The cop spoke to him quietly. The guy shook, opened his jacket, and produced a plastic bag. Inside was about 330 yuan, 100 note, 4 50s, 3 10s. He gave it to me, his hands shaking. "This is to buy fertilizer, it's all I have." I took the 330 and watched as he tried to start up his motorbike but couldn't. With one hand carrying the vegetable basket and one propping up the bike, he went off. Blood still dripped down his face. The crowd slowly dispersed, and the first cop said in a low voice, "You want to watch the drink in future." "I owe you dinner," I said. He didn't reply, just blew his whistle and left. I got in my car and was just driving around the bend when I saw the old farmer by a tree. His face was as pale as rice paper. His hand was pressed against his stomach as he coughed and coughed. I looked away as if nothing had happened. Why should I go looking for trouble by doing anything for this guy? I thought. I stepped on the gas and continued to Fengshan town. My girlfriend, hHYd5uLe, would be worried about me by now. Tales of toil. The agricultural sector is the backbone of any economy. It provides food for everyone and income, however meagre, for the majority of the world's population. A farmer's work is not easy. Whether it is a rice paddy in India, a wheat field in China, or a cocoa plantation in Brazil, several resources are required to run a farm. Farmers in different parts of the world have to deal with many variables: climate, rainfall levels, terrain, soil quality, microorganisms, even wildlife, all the while coaxing the earth into allowing crops to flourish. Farmers allocate different resources to overcome the challenges they face. Based on the requirements of the crop and the level of nutrients in the soil, farmers need to buy fertilizers, In places that don't have adequate rainfall, they set up irrigation systems to water the crops. They may hire labour to work on the land and invest in machines and tools. They also need pesticides to rid the land of insects and weeds that harm the crop. Farmers are, perhaps, the hardest workers in any land. They bear the tremendous responsibility of ensuring that food supplies do not diminish. They toil from dawn to dusk without complaint to keep this from happening, yet are often the ones forgotten and left behind.